What are your plans for 2019?
My plans. I've got big plans for 2019. Arthur and I are going to be hitting the road here promoting Disturbing the Peace, our new CD, which is a groundbreaking approach to both American piano music and the roots of blues, jazz, swing, stride, rhythm and blues, rock and roll, and boogie woogie. We've been touring the world for the last 4 or 5 years telling the story of how all these various genres all come from the same place. And that place is dance. It all comes from dance, back from after the Civil War, when the African American community was finally free to get together, socialize, party, and dance. And dance is the underpinnings of all the elements of these genres. And the basic elements are rhythm, improvisation, and syncopation. And we tell the story of how all these different forms evolved out of those same basic roots. So we're hitting the road. We're going to be in New Orleans in June at the World War II, the National World War II Historical Museum. We're going to be playing 3 nights in New Orleans. And my father will be 99 years old. It's sort of an important event for me because we're going to bring him down there. And I'm sure they're going to treat him well. But in addition to our little trip to New Orleans, I'll be playing in Naples, Florida in March with the amazing Bob Seeley, another one of the Boogie Kings. He's 90 and still teaching us lessons on a daily basis. We'll be performing in Arizona. Actually, I'm flying out there day after tomorrow a couple of times this year and doing workshops. We're in the middle of booking gigs all over the country, from New York to California. There's information in our calendar will be posted in a number of places. BoogieStomp.com, the most accessible and easiest to get to. But we're all over the social media. You'll be able to find us easily at Facebook and Instagram and Twitter. And what we're doing here is rolling out our YouTube channel, which we're pretty excited about. We've been holding back a little bit because we've been distracted, both Arthur and I, by being on the road so much. And we're planning on spending a few weeks to a month here just organizing all the material that we're gonna start posting on the web. Another thing we're going to do is kick off our Pledge Music campaign to try to expand our fan base and expose the world to this new CD. This CD features me and Arthur playing, some of it's the canon, the real bedrock of American piano music, like Boogie Stomp, which goes back to, in several different iterations, all the way to Pine Top's Boogie Woogie, which was recorded in the early 20s and probably had many incarnations before that in various forms. We do our version of it, update it to the present day. And that's one of the things Arthur and I are doing. This music evolved in all these different forms that I mentioned earlier: boogie woogie, blues, jazz, swing, stride, rhythm and blues, rock and roll, even gospel to a certain extent. And in the early 50s, the real basic fundamental danceable music that was called all those different names evolved into American pop music. Well, actually, it went in two directions. One direction, it's really the foundation for all of modern jazz. And for 20 years it was called jazz. It's still jazz. But part of one branch it evolved into became modern jazz, which is more cerebral and complex and less accessible in a lot of ways. Down the other branch, through Chuck Berry and Jerry Lee Lewis and Little Richard and all those great piano players, it evolved into rock and roll and eventually American pop music. And we show all that in our show. We talk about it and demonstrate it. But Arthur and I didn't go down either path. And this CD is sort of the culmination of what we're really doing, which is showing that the music is as relevant and contemporary as anything else out there. And I think you'll agree with us if you put it on and listen to it. We're really lucky because trying to capture the excitement of a live show in the studio is very difficult. And we had this amazing recording engineer. His name's Mark Stebbits. Mark and I go back to prehistoric times. He started out here about 40 years ago. He was the engineer for Grand Funk. He was the recording engineer for John Cougar Mellencamp. Grammy nominated for his incredible work. He was one of the last recording engineers to work with George Harrison. He has an incredible track record, and his mixing of this thing was magical. Every time he sent us back a new mix, it just knocked us out. And what he's managed to do with our bare bones approach is breathtaking. This entire album is just me and Arthur, two pianos, and several of the songs is just one piano and a harmonica. But the way we approached it and the way Mark engineered it, once you're listening to it, you think you're listening to a 12-piece band. It just fills it up and knocks you out of your seat. And the fact that he managed to capture that in a recording is really amazing. And it's really American piano music from its origins to the present day. It has all the finesse and virtuosity and dynamics and acoustics. I mean, we recorded it on Steinway Concert Grands of classical music, but it loses none of the fire and energy and raw, just kick you out of your seat excitement that was present in this music right from its origins. And we feel really lucky that we managed to capture that in a CD. It really is classical American piano music. And both live and on the CD, I think we managed to deliver that. So 2019, here we go, 2019. We're hitting the road with this, Arthur and I, and very likely that we're going to be showing up at your community. And also we're getting ready for 2020, which is going to be the 100-year celebration of the first recorded and documented and published blues and boogie woogie songs. The real origins are 50 years before that, at the end of the Civil War, but the first time it was actually documented was about 1919, 1920. So in addition to playing our show and promoting our CD all over the country, we're also going to be celebrating 100 years of American piano music. So it'll be coming to your community soon, I hope. Call us up. Check out our contact information. Book now. Figure out how to get us there and we'll show up. The Boogie Kings, Baldori and Migliazza.